All right, guys, Sam here with you on Friday, October 5th. Well, so we'll do a quick update here on Bitcoin. It is Bitcoin Friday. There's not a lot really that I can add here from the last time we looked at it. Essentially, we're just moving sideways. So again, as to whether how this ends up getting labeled, with this certainly is one possibility. It's just a huge triangle. W, X, Y, X, Z, possibly. Now, to get some action here, we're going to have to break through. Certainly, this dominant trend line is significant, but we've got some levels here that we can't ignore. So I'm just going to go from the daily. We'll go over here to this is the 60 minutes. So what do you do with this, right? There's essentially no clear Elliott pattern. What can we be definitive about? Well, there's two things. One, if we just carrying forward with this pattern of swing, retrace, well, we obviously have got the same thing here. The 50's been tested twice. Now, I've just wicked off some levels here that seem to be important to the market. So you can see here, prior resistance became support, again, resistance. So we're going to need to get through that. There's no help on the buy side. So no matter how you draw it, even here with this break of the 65, right? So algos are not doing any better, right? So there's an algo that's sold here at this 50 with this target down here. Any buyers here, any shorter term algo that was trading here has been stopped out on both sides from this move. So for us, what do you do? Right? So if you're not in the market, if you're not currently in a position or holding Bitcoin, right? There's just absolutely no trade here until we get some break out of this range. So let's pull this off here, right? You have to defer to the short side here. So until one of these 65s break, it's very hard to build a case to the buy side. This looks like it's more likely an expanded flat. So we do have an A wave here. This would play better as a we get to the 1272. We're not quite to the 618. So we're just in kind of no man's land. This has been tested twice. So it looks more corrective, but then we don't get much impulsive movement here. So if we were looking for something, I think it's a bit of a stretch to go 1, 2. We certainly don't have anything impulsive. So this would have to be some sort of a ugly diagonal. There's just nothing here, right? So a lot of times that's just the harsh reality. I know many people come here, they're looking for a trade. There is just not a trade here. The only position that is supported by what we see here is the short off of this 50, and that hasn't done much either, right? So we've got a target down here at 5,800. There's very little, there's almost no market geometry. No matter how I draw this, there's just very little to work with here until we get out of this range. Even if I use this, well, okay, you're making a case that we've broken the channel. Well, the 1.5 is here. Back here, it's not much better. If anything, the failure to make the median line implies strength, but we haven't done much since. So, what do you use? It's again, right, guys. I just there's nothing for me to offer to you here other than that this is the last trade that's in play. And what's the rule here is you trade them until they fail. So until this breaks this 65. I cannot make a case for a long here, much as I want to, right? So I mean, I'm one of the Uber bulls on Bitcoin long term, but in the short term, there's no case to be made for a buy here, right? We've got no algos on either side. Even if I pull from here, there's no case to be made for a long until we break this 65. So that's what are we calling that? 60, 69, 60, we'll call it. You need that break to at least give us the scenario here where we'd have a higher low and then a higher high. So we'd have something as to what the Elliott count looks like ultimately. Well, we're going to need more information. The market has not revealed enough yet to where we can get a count with any degree of probability. Right? So how do you make a trade out of this? We're just sitting here in one standard deviation of the volume profile. So it's really just a hurry up and wait. Now, so as we go into the weekend, it wouldn't be surprising that we see some sort of a break out of this range. Right. So actually, either one, we just need more information than sideways. So if it breaks down here, then we've got something to work with. If we break this 65, then again, we get something to work with. But on the larger degree, we're going to have to get through this. We're going to have to get through this trend line and then the Vegas wave. So this pivot would be critical here. So we've got to get a really pretty significant move here. That would put us at 7,700 to get clean of this pivot. So we can make that case that we had now a higher high off of some of these dominant pivots. Now here I'm working, this is the daily, right? So these are dominant swings. But this series of swing, retrace, swing, retrace, swing, retrace, swing, now we're just flatlining here. So it, if you just look at it, it feels like, even if it comes down here and we're like, oh, boo-hoo, but Bitcoin's down, at least that would resolve us. We'd have a pattern that potentially could resolve here and set up for the first possible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get an impulse coming out of a low that at least would give us that combination of pattern, price, an algo pull hitting a target. We can find an Elliott count that will fit here ultimately. Until we get resolution here, this is just an exercise in an educated guess. That what we can be objective about is swing, retrace, and each of them has been technical until we had just flatlined here. So there's no clue, there's no new trade here until we get resolution either down or we break this pattern. It's just hurry up and wait. Right, so with that, there's not much more I can add. So we sit, we wait, and we look for the market to give us some clues based on where it goes next. And with that, once we have that, then we can build a roadmap and perhaps build the first entry on the long side. Until then, we just watch and wait. All right, guys, back to you in a bit. I'm gonna try and get something that looks a little bit more interesting. So back to you.